So you're here with us, and we are delighted you have accepted this invitation to participate in the Student Connectedness Project, where students are welcome to be leaders, learners, and designers. As is shown on the next slide, together we are going to explore what it means to be truly connected to a school. And that is by means of connecting to an adult, connecting to a supportive peer, connected to a purpose in a welcoming space. Today, we're going to be concentrated on the second area, which is the connected to peers. And so we're going to be talking about how supportive friendship helps students and also adults to feel safe, to feel understood, and encouraged, and why those connections matter, especially when it comes to learning and well-being. Next slide, please. So I'm connecting to you right now from the Alexandria, Washington, D.C. area, where we have a gorgeous day. It's beautiful, cold, but it's sunny. And so I know you're coming, perhaps transitioning from a class, or you come from another meeting, or just squeezing this meeting in a totally busy day, and we appreciate that. Well, we want you to just take a moment to arrive and to be present here with us, and we're going to do that via a connection circle. So I'm inviting you to please share your name, your school, place, date, in one word that you would use to describe a good friend. So I'm going to model that. So my name is Maria Weltmeyer. I'm with the Everyone Graduate Center at Johns Hopkins University. And though the university is located in Maryland, I'm connecting, as you heard me earlier, I'm connecting with you from Alexandria, Virginia. For me, when I think of a good friend, the first word that comes to mind is trustworthy. And so I am going to ask Cass to go next.
Hi, Maria. Thank you. Hi, everybody. My name is Kaz Martinez. I am the executive director at Sendero School of Academics and Career Preparation. And I am in New Mexico in the southern part of the states. And a good friend I would describe would be loyal.
And if you would please select the next person to go, Cass. Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll select our friends, I guess, at Explore Academy. Lisa.
So I would say, so my name is Lisa Ortiz, and I'm with Explore Academy in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I have my co-advisor here, Miss Juliana, and then I'll let them all introduce themselves as well too. And I have three amazing students here at school, Brooklyn, James, and Aiden. And I would say that a good friend, having a kindred heart, having that warm heart of a friend, which comes in with the friendship and being trustworthy and that companionship. The next person, I will go ahead and pass it to Miss Juliana.
I'm Juliana Sanchez. I'm here at Explorer Academy. Director? Advisor with Lisa Ortiz. Let me see, loyalty. Loyalty would be my word. Okay, Brooklyn.
My name is Brooklyn Bohm. I go to Explore Academy. To describe a friend, I would likely use kindness, because if they're loyal but they're not kind, there's really no point in like holding them close to you and like having them be important to you.
James.
My name is James Bush. I'm from Explore Academy, New Mexico. And if I had to describe a friend in one word, I would probably call them believing. Because if your friends do not believe in you and they are not with you, then they aren't friends.
My name's Aiden D. Herrera. I go to Explore Academy in New Mexico, and for a word I would use to describe a good friend is probably understanding, because if you guys understand each other, you guys just have a good relationship and you can just be friends.
And then will you pass it to someone that you see on the screen and has not had a chance to tell us who they are and what a friend means to them?
Mr. Sharp.
Peter Sharp. Hmm. Okay, and then we may be having some difficulty with technology, as it always happens. So let's see. Michelle, will you want to go next?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Starnes, and I'm with the Everyone Graduate Center, and I'm coming to you live today from Los Chavez, New Mexico. And a word that I would use to describe a good friend is available. So you want someone who's going to be there for you in times of great celebration, as well as in times where you need someone to kind of either hold you accountable or to be there during a difficult time. And I know that I have one here on the screen, and I will pass it to Jerry Crisp.
Thank you, Michelle. And I would say that Michelle and Maria, we are those people for each other because my first word that I came up with was trusted, and then Maria says trustworthy, and then I wrote on my paper, okay, available, and Michelle did that. So you can see how the three EGC people are connected, and I'm sure that Greg's going to have something similar. So I'm going to turn it to my teammate, Greg.
Thanks, Jerry, and welcome everyone. It's great to see you all. My name is Greg Howell, and I'm with the EGC team. I work in Maryland in a town called Glenelg, smack dab equally in the middle from DC to Baltimore. And when I think of a good friend, I think of a good friend as a blessing because they already have the trust, the loyalty, the kindness, everything that everybody has mentioned. So that puts them in the good friend uh, space, and that's a blessing. And I believe that's everyone, unless we can get back to
Thank
Peter.
you. Thank you, Greg. Let's try and see if Peter can hear us now. And then there's another Lisa Ortiz, but I think that that's the same, right? That it's two. Okay, great, great, great. Peter, thank you. Peter, can you hear us? All right, so we're just gonna move on, and Michelle is gonna lead us into the. There you go.
Can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Sorry. Yeah. 5 years into working online, and here I am, guys, still on mute. Okay, maybe I was saying something really amazing. But what I'm saying is today's session is going to explore the powerful role that friendships and pure connections play in shaping our sense of belonging, confidence, and our overall success in school. We're going to examine how relationships influence our attendance, behavior, and academic performance, and consider practical ways to strengthen those connections. So this will be done in an interactive space to elevate your voice, to share some of your ideas, and to reflect on the shared responsibility that we all hold in building a connected, supportive school community. We're also going to ground our work in a brief design sprint to identify where you are in your design process, or maybe you're just getting started, and determine some of those next steps. So to get started, you're going to want to grab something to write with, perhaps a paper, pen, or on your computer to jot down your thoughts, okay? Okay. Give me a couple seconds. I see some of you already have it. But let's talk about some research. We always like to talk about research as a research university. Research shows that when students start to feel disconnected from school, there are usually some really clear signs. You might see students missing more days, coming late more often, getting into trouble more frequently, or struggling to keep up with some of those assignments and grades. These aren't just random things that are happening. They can be signals that a student doesn't feel like they belong. When students don't feel connected, it can also affect how they feel emotionally. They may feel more stressed, less confident, or less motivated. So over time, feeling disconnected can make it harder to stay engaged in school. Now, listen, I know that sounds like some really tough news, but the good news is this: connection really matters. So when students feel seen, supported, and valued by friends and adults at school, they are more likely to show up, to do well in class, and feel good about themselves. Belonging isn't just a nice idea, it actually helps students succeed. So when we go to the next slide, before we jump in, let's talk about 3 important ideas that shape your experience at school. Those 3 ideas are agency, belonging, and connectedness. An agency means that your ideas and your choices matter. You can set goals, speak up, and take action to make your school or community better. Belonging means feeling accepted, respected, and included just for being you. Everyone deserves to feel like they have a place and people who care about them. Connectedness means having positive relationships with friends, teachers, and your community. When you feel connected, school feels safer, learning feels easier, and you're more motivated to show up.
All right, so what I'm going to invite you to do is participate in something that we call a technique that is called a waterfall chat. Some of you may be very familiar with it, but it's a virtual engagement technique in where us, right, participants type a response to a prompt, to a question, but we wait before we hit the enter, the submit button, okay, until you're given a signal. And so because we have many participants in one of the rooms, we're gonna give a little more time so then Lisa is able to collect some of the answers. Or if it, I don't know, at this point I was wondering if it may be that everybody else enters the response when you hear the signal, but we give that specific room a little more time for them to, for them to share it. Does that make sense?
Makes total sense. Thank you.
Okay, so here is the prompt. And the signal will be agency. When you hear the word agency, that's when you're gonna click the enter button. So within this idea of agency, when have you used your voice to help your peer or your peers? So you're gonna enter your response. You're gonna type it, but not enter it yet until you hear the word agency. Okay, so let's see how agency. See what we get, and we are gonna give you. Okay. So maybe in Lisa's breakout room, we could just hear their voices to tell us what the response to the question is.
Oh. Okay, we're here. All right, Brooklyn, would you like to share?
What I said was I usually use inclusion to help my peers to feel like they actually like have a place where they are when they're like new or something, so that they like want to come back and want to like continue on the path that they're going.
Okay, thank you.
I used lifting them up. So like when like they're down or just feeling bad, just say nice stuff to them and then just get them feeling better so they feel like they're included, or just get them and
Thank you. James?
Uh, I use agency when new students come to the school. You always have to make them feel at ease, make them feel at home. When they're first, coming from elementary school, getting into middle school, high school, it's always nice to let them know they have a sense of home and a sense of security in the school.
Awesome. Thank you. Anybody else in that room?
I think that our kiddos here had amazing answers. One of the things with agency is also having that voice, allowing each student to be able to have the opportunity to advocate for themselves, to have that opportunity not only for their education, but for themselves of who they are and who they want to be, I think is very, very important. And that us as educators, that we're listening to them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And that will take us to the next slide. And on this one, we're going to be looking at belonging. And the prompt is, what helps you and your friends feel like you belong at school? Okay, so those who wanted to type the responses in the chat, do so now. And then when you hear the signal, which is belonging, you will enter it. And then we'll do the same with the students in Lisa's room. Okay?
So
Mute my audio.
When they ask me.
I think we're ready to share if we may share.
Okay. Belonging.
So usually what me and my friends do to like feel like we belong is like we usually like talk about like what we don't like about the school, and we don't like how like much work there is, but like we like to encourage each other to like continue on with the work, and like it'll eventually get easier if we just do the hard stuff now.
Thank you.
What helps me feel like I belong at school, and I think this is the same for a lot of people, is definitely the community at our school. Just knowing that there are so many people here that would stand up for you, that would tell you what's right, that would believe in you, and just knowing that there's always someone that would help you out.
Great.
I would say my sense of belonging is probably friend groups or just like people in general that just understand me. Like we get to mess around and stuff and just be with each other.
Great. And then we have others, right, on the screen, on the chat, when we have time and space to be together, to share ideas, laugh, and sometimes cry. And that's so true. And share vision. And when we're given a space for our opinions, right, then we feel like we belong because our voices are heard. And Greg says, when I feel welcomed. Excellent. So that takes us to the next one. Did I get everybody in Lisa's room?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we'll move on to connectedness. And there's sort of two questions there. Who are the friends or friend groups at school that help you feel connected? And then the second one, what helps you feel supported or connected in more general ways, right? What helps you feel supported or connected? In the word, the signal will be connectedness. And I appreciate
My audio.
when you're ready. Okay, so just let me know when that room is ready.
Okay, so how I feel connected with like my friend group is like whenever we have like excuse me, an activity or something, we usually like pair up and we like all like to like bunch up in our little group because like that's like the natural response. But like sometimes whenever we like meet a new person in class, we like to include them to like connect them to like our group and help them to feel connected.
A lot of things that make me feel connected to school are the clubs, just knowing that you can be with people you know, be with friends. And then what helps me feel connected is definitely just knowing that no matter, where the people are at the school, even if we don't have classes, even if we're apart, we always know that we're friends and that we can get through it and we're connected.
Right.
I would say what makes me feel connected is just understanding each other, like having things in common. Like what my friend group has. We just like if there's someone new, we'll just see like what they have in common with us, and then just be friends with them, have them join us, eat lunch with us. So that's what I think is has me as a person that connects me with people.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. And then we have other response to us like Cass feels like his admin team and the support staff, they have a vision that connects them, right? And Michelle, this is my team, the ability to be me. It's always good, right? To have your voice and be okay with it. And so anyways, thank you so much. And then we move on to the next thing right now.
And the next thing is just thinking about how the agency, belonging, and connectedness really help us with attendance, behavior, and course performance, because those are the foundational pieces that we need and have to have in order for us to, you know, be at a school that, really matters to us to attend that school and to show up and connect with others and for us to be connected to our classrooms. Because one of the things when we talk about connectedness, and one of the things that we at the Everyone Graduates Center right now are doing is we have a big research project around connectedness. And because connectedness really is like a universal prevention measure for attendance when we think about attendance. Because as Maria started us today, she talked about being connected in 4 ways, right? Connected to the adults in your building, connected to peers, connected to your place, and connected to a purpose. And you mentioned that. I heard, James, you talked about being connected to clubs, right? Clubs sometimes have a purpose for those clubs and connecting us to our friend groups, because when we attend school in person, we really have an ability to connect and grow with our peers. And you will hear us talk about that particular word with a lot. And behavior, it is really about relationships, right? It's about the relationships that you have, the relationships with your peers, but also the relationships with the adults in the building. We know that you have 2 great adults that are sitting with you there at Explorer Academy today who you have great relationships with. You know that those 2 adults in that room really care about you and care about you as people. And then the piece about course performance, part of that is about mindset, right? It's about learning how you learn. And it's a part of your story. Some schools have grades and some don't, right? Sometimes we have people who are base it on competency. And so that's where, when you think about course performance, that a lot of customization and personalization and differentiation have a space to come about. And we're starting to do more performance-based assessments versus just those assessments that are pen and paper as we move forward. So as we move forward, we really want to continue to hear from the wisdom in the room. And so, in hearing from the wisdom in the room, we have 4 questions for you. And you'll see that we talked about going into a breakout, but we thought we would ask you. We changed that waterfall chat just a little bit because Explorer Academy, we really want to hear your wisdom. We want to hear your voices because this is about peer to peer. It is about students and to students, right? And so we want to know, do you feel comfortable if we just stayed in this whole group and answered each of these questions? Or Explore Academy, would you like, about 6 or 7 minutes to go into a room, talk about these questions, and then bring your answers back to us? What feels most comfortable?
Do you guys like this question? Just talk straight out? Or do you want to talk
Do
separately?
you wanna talk separately for a while and then come back? Are you okay just doing this? What do you guys wanna do?
And there's not a wrong answer.
Just like this, they're ready to go like this.
Okay. Oh, we're open to that then. So the first question is really just about making friends. And so you've answered some of these questions, and we all have. You notice that the adults also answered those questions, right? About making friends, because we keep friendships throughout our life. So in the making friends, how do you start conversations with others?
How I start conversations with others is I normally just look for signs of things that relate us to each other, like designs on backpacks or on pants or anywhere that would let me know what they like, and starting a conversation about that to try to get us connected by relating each other to a certain thing, just so that person feels safe and, connected about talking about that thing with me.
I agree with Jamesy about just like seeing what interests, like what we like, what like stuff we like, sports teams, whatever. Um just like having that feeling of connection and like um unity with that person, and just like seeing what you guys have in common, and just like being friends.
Um, I agree with them with like finding things that like relate you to another person. But I also like to like use the method of like asking them things they like and then like listening to what they have to say about it, because then they feel like heard in things that they say, and they feel more like they can like be good friends with you.
That was really powerful in both ways, right? Because one, you take visual clues and it gives you a place to start a conversation. And then I loved hearing about Brooklyn just asking questions so that people feel heard, right? With you being able to respond to what you hear from them. What
That was
question do you want to, whoops, go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was going to say that was great insight. And you heard Jerry talk about us doing our team working as in a greater research project. Your voices today are really important for us to support with that research, because what you say, like how you make friends, lends us the opportunity to talk to people across the nation and globally about how, as educators, we can offer the time and space for you to do these things. So thank you for sharing those.
I was just going to ask what question you wanted to go to next from these 4 questions. I got us started, but it's always good to have choice.
Community or
You guys want to do a custom community?
classroom community? Classroom community.
Classroom community. So how can you and your peers help other students feel welcome?
Whenever you're ready.
Go ahead.
I feel like just talking to them and maybe helping them with like the work, or just trying to understand them, where they're from, just make them feel like they're part of the community. Just bring them into your friend group, or just introduce them to some of your friends, and just have them feel welcomed and at home.
I agree with Aiden on that one. I know that a lot of people, when they don't have someone that they can relate to or talk to in a class, it can be hard on them, they can't feel like they could connect. So it's always good to sit by someone who's maybe looking a little down or alone, ask them how they're doing, make them feel like, they're welcome in that classroom and they have someone that they can rely on.
Usually for me, I like to pay attention to like what the students are wearing that day and like how they change over like the term so that like I can mention to them like, hey, you dyed your hair or something, and they feel like I actually like see them and like I'm including them in like a part of my life and that they matter.
And just as Michelle was saying, such powerful answers, right? Like just the power in what you share from your perspectives. And that is, you notice that we're just listening to your wisdom right now, because just we want to know what's taking place in classrooms where we're not every day. So talking to them, helping with the work, bringing them into your friend groups, and just noticing, right? A lot of times, noticing people is such an important part of helping people feel welcomed into a space. So where next? Which question next?
Jerry, can I add something?
Yes, please,
That
Maria.
will be from the adult viewpoint. So I'm going to share with you how. So Michelle is our New Mexico connection, right? And so I'm going to share with you how she has made us, meaning Jerry, Maria, and Greg, who are not from New Mexico, right? When we go, first of all, even like when she logs into a meeting, you see the chili peppers on the thing. And it's so something as symbolic as that is already like giving you part of who you are, right? She is offering us, oh, here is Michelle from New Mexico, you know what I mean? And then, of course, when we're in her presence, and it's always like these little tokens of New Mexico, of Albuquerque, that we appreciate. In other words, she wants us to taste, she wants us to experience the New Mexican community every time we're visiting Albuquerque. Thank you.
You guys want to do joining clubs and activities, like what it means, and how you connect with them?
Want to start?
Um,
Let them know that which one we're doing joining clubs.
we're doing the joining clubs and activities.
Next,
Joining clubs and activities.
Okay.
So what I usually do in my club, since I'm in musical theater club, we're like all like loud and we're like all out there and like ready to like make friends. I like to like circle around the classroom and like talk to people I know and introduce them to more people who maybe they don't know. So then like I have main friend group and then I have other friend groups that I connect a friend group too.
Joining clubs and activities is a great way to connect with peers at school because you will join a club that has something that you like or sport that you like. And when you go in there, you know that those people are people who enjoy what you enjoy. They're on the same level as you. And you know that you can talk to these people because they share the same interests with you. Like if you wanted to join basketball, you know that these people, they wouldn't join this club for no reason. They want to play basketball. So you already have people you can talk to and people that you can be with. And
I agree with Jamesy about the just joining what you like. I'm soccer club and I enjoy soccer, just playing with my friends, and I pretty much know everyone in there because not many people play soccer, so we all know each other. Just play and then just have fun, mess around with each other, and then just there's someone new, we just include them in, have them join one of our teams, and then just tell them what to do, like how to play, and then just like make them part of the community of the club.
And it's so important. So everybody's been giving you those adult perspectives of that also, right? Because even for us, like at JHU, we have book clubs so that we can make new friends for with people at the School of Education who aren't a part of the Everyone Graduates Center team. So it allows us that opportunity. And even when we're together, you see, I'm from Colorado. Michelle's New Mexico, Maria's in Maryland, Virginia, and then Greg is in, Maryland. And so when we get together, sometimes we like to break bread together, right? We might call it an eating club because we definitely love good food and like to gather together. So yes, it's people with those shared interests. So what else? We've asked you a lot of questions. You've answered it. So are there other ways that you've experienced connections with your peers that you haven't talked about yet or that our questions didn't address? Or do you think we covered it?
Once go.
I know that one way that you can connect is just noticing, people who are alone, like especially during lunchtime, there's always going to be someone who's sitting alone, looking sad, and it's always good to go up to them, ask them how they're doing, start a conversation with them. And then on another road, there's great ways to connect with your educators. I mean, having a teacher who you can really just go to and talk to, and they'll give you good information, they'll be there for you. And there's many ways to do this. You honestly just have to look for someone who shares your ideas, a teacher who treats you like you're you, lets you be you, and lets you speak out in your own ways.
So important to have voice, right? And to know that your voice matters to others. And that goes back to what Brooklyn said, so that you know that you've been heard. So important. Thank you, Greg, for allowing us to be in this space. And thank you all for answering those questions with just all of us in this big space together. And we're just going to continue to move forward. And we're going to keep moving. And we're going to talk a little bit about that design sprint challenge.
I want to make sure I'm on speaker and not on mute. And learn as you go. Okay, so here's the challenge. How might we design a way for us as students to feel more connected at school? So we in this room, all of us together, you all feel connected, but I'm wondering if there are some students who do not. And so we utilize liberatory design. It's a short, focused process that helps people work together to understand a problem and to imagine new possibilities. So let's look at some of the components of liberty design on the next slide. The first one is empathize. And the purpose is to truly understand people's experiences, their feelings, and needs, especially those who are most impacted by the issue. So if we're talking about school, right, who's most impacted? Teachers and our administrators and our students. And define, right? So defining the challenge. The purpose is to clearly and collectively define the challenge based on what you learned, not based on assumptions. And then ideate, right? It's the purpose to imagine and to dream of what is possible. So we spent some time on our last webinar, if you were here, if you weren't, it's okay, on multiple perspectives and how students might feel connected at school. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. On the next slide, another idea through liberatory design is our prototype, sorry. Making things tangible by creating simple versions of ideas. So just little ways that we can, the second piece, try to test and learn, and then to reflect, meaning that we pause and we leave room to grow and understand like what worked, what didn't work of maybe this little jump that we decided to do or a little hack.
And so, like Michelle shared, when we were all together back on January the 28th, we spent some time here, right? Sometimes talking about how might we gain the perspective of others. And we shared that maybe you would do empathy interviews or some student surveys, or you might shadow someone in the school. It might be a student, it might be an adult. You might have a conversation cafe at the school to gain many perspectives from lots of different, adults and students, or have some focus groups. That might be a way that you would gain the perspective of others. So as we move to the next slide, it really talks about sharing a little bit more, kind of just asking, where are you right now? Like which stage really best describes where your team is today at Explore Academy. Are you at that place where you're still trying to learn a little bit more about your peers' experiences with connectedness, or are you at that defined place where you're kind of deciding, okay, this might be what we want to do, because this is what we heard and this is what we might want to do. And then if we know what we want to do we have some ideas for that? And then are we ready to try out some of those ideas? So on the next slide, we're asking you that. We're asking kind of where are you to share, like, how did you gain the perspective of others? Or are you in that planning stage of trying to decide we want to do empathy interviews or shadow a student or do focus groups? And then did you capture if you've already? So maybe we'll just ask you, where are you in this process?
And Jerry, we are actually in the process of doing some interviews and different things like that. And then we have plans for next week to meet next week on Wednesday. And that's where we're gonna start putting our planning into place. And so the students will be coming in after school on Wednesday of next week to put that together.
And so the way that you're going about it is empathy interviews. So what does that look like? Are all of you going out and interviewing other students across campus or in your class?
So we're gonna be doing some surveys throughout the school. We've talked to one of our individuals, administrators here, to do a survey throughout the schools. We're also the students and also us as educators in our classrooms are going to be doing some empathy questions and a variety of different things, and probably add on a few other things that we'll decide by Wednesday. Also too, of what else that we're gonna include in that, because with every school and every state, it's also a little different, right? So we wanna like really focus in on with our students here, and then expand not just here in school, but also within the community, within the families, having it family centered, right? How involved are the families? Where are the families at? With the community? How are they included within our school environment as well? And how we can get a variety of different ideas and voices, so our students can implement their project together.
And it's so important to get all of those different perspectives, right? And especially like multi-generational perspectives, because we as adults have a perspective that is oftentimes different than the reality of the student perspective. So that's awesome. So doing it sounds like maybe you're doing school survey and then you're going to kind of take that data and put it together to kind of decide what you want to do as a project.
Yes, and they'll branch out. So they'll do the school one, they'll do a family, a one that's specific to the family, and then community members within the community as well. So where we are at off of Jefferson and Osuna here in Albuquerque, we have a lot of, there's various other schools on this street as well, but also a lot of community partners as well that we can branch out to, also to get their thoughts and their ideas, because our students are is the future. They're gonna be in their working for them possibly, or having their own business, that is something similar to that. So it's really important to do that.
We all, I see Michelle shaking her head, but yes, I mean, we continue to talk about ecosystems, right? And it's how within our school, our families, our business partners, our institutes of higher education, everybody coming together, right? To support the success of students while you're in school and support, when we say success, support what you want, right? Like listening to your voice and valuing that voice and also valuing the voice of those that are giving that information so that we build that connectedness with our community, which Ms. Ortiz is wonderful about doing with all of the partnerships that she creates and develops.
Jerry, also too, I wanted to add this, it's something I was thinking about, and I thought it would be a good idea, and even branching out to New Mexico PED, having our students ask them, hey, based on the curriculum, what are your thoughts and ideas? So our students can also see where the curriculum also comes in and get the ideas of why it's implemented into their daily lives here at school. And why, all the why is it important? And why is it important to connect that with their families? I think it all loops in together. So this year with our group of students, I would like to see that. I'm gonna see if I can get that together for them. I think it would be a great idea to do that.
So agree, right? Like being connected at the state level and at the national level. That's why Michelle was saying, yes, we're doing this research project. And I mean, just even what you've shared right now is something that we can take to our partners who are part of that project and share that all of these different ways that you're thinking about gaining the perspective of others in making your decision for your or your decisions at your school. Thank you so much for these ideas, and thank you for allowing us to videotape so that we can share with others. And as we move forward, are there any questions that you have for us?
Any questions?
Or any questions?
So I have a question. So based upon how we've previously done it, we are just doing a showcase, but virtually, correct? Here at our school. So everything more or less the same, following the same templates, but here at school, all online. And
Yes.
every school that is participating, will it be streamed to everyone all at once?
Yes. It'll be at one designated time on April the 29th. And then we, of course, will invite lots of different folks like we have in the past. And we will ask you who you want to have invited, right? Who is important for you for us to send an invitation to? Like, most importantly, who do you think we should invite to April the 29th?
Right, perfect. Thank you.
And you can give us some hints now if you want to, or send them in an email. But yes, we do want to know who you want invited to April the 29th.
I actually have a list of community partners and would love to have their families also join as well. And also, the staff here that's available to join that day. And Mr. Colander, Mr. Branch, to see the amazing work that our students are going to be doing and that are working on now. But may I send you a list by email? I think just because I'll have a few of them.
Yes, please. Yes, yes. And then that'll help us. And then we'll work on like a invite link, just like we have for other things, so that there's like a calendar invitation that goes out for people to be able to access this Zoom link and for us to know who's coming to the 29th.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to jump in from
Please.
a communications media person. If you want a part of your presentation to be video, perhaps, or you might want to make a video for a standalone that the people could see to understand your project that maybe weren't there, or couldn't attend, or just to have as an asset, we would be happy to feature it with with your presentation, and also have it featured on the website so the people that come to the Connectedness Project could see what you did in your project. Even though there'll be a video about the event, which will be long, you can certainly have your own little piece that we would love to feature for you.
Well, that would be lovely. Great, thank you.
And then the next slide just talks a little bit about the journey. Or, oops, great designs start with us. And then the journey is just kind of where we are. So we're talking about, we said, we're going through this process. So we're going ahead with the project, but each time really when it says like these virtual sessions connected to purpose or welcoming place, that's kind of the research part of it. But just like we did today, we'd like to spend an equal amount of time hearing and learning from you where you are in your design process. So it sounds like when we come back on the 25th, you're going to be really deep into gaining the perspective of others inside and outside of the school. And then we'll have some office hours where you can talk to us on March the 25th. But of course, you can always reach out. You have Michelle there in New Mexico if you need her to come in person. She can do that. And then we will have the virtual showcased on the 29th. Michelle, do you want to talk about social media?
Well, I think that that's something that's never going to go away, right? We know that there is some great data right now that's talking about connection. And I don't know if Brooklyn, James, and Aiden, if you guys are on social media, if you have social media, but sometimes people make friends through social media, whether it's positive or negative. We know that there is some research that shows that it can be a positive place to develop relationships and friendships. And then we know, just even us as adults, that it can be a space that really can add to like some anxiety or depression. And so there are some ways too that we can connect, and feel free to look at some of the research that's out there. We know that it can divide people or bring them closer. And so when you use it to encourage and support and include others, which I feel like the three of you would do, just hearing by what you've said today and shared with us today, you help create a community where everyone feels like they belong. And so you may have a friend that's like in a whole other state or even another country if you're utilizing some of those social media outlets. And so there are some things that you can do to bring people together. You can share your voice. You can start a challenge for good, like a kindness week challenge or a motivation Monday post with your friends, or a gratitude tag where you tag three people that you love or like, and just share some of the great things that they've done. And of course, pausing before you post, right? I think that's something that we can think about too. Is it kind? Is it true? Would I say this to somebody to their face, right? So connectedness grows when we protect each other's dignity and just kind of support one another. So there's some options there for you too to think about, because I know we have like Snapchat, Instagram, and those type of things, right, that are out there. And how do we utilize that for that connectedness? And we're happy to share some of the research that we have here for you guys. And we'll just keep moving forward because we know we have 3 minutes in our time together. But if you guys want to share something now with us, if there's a way that you share with your collective friend groups on social media, if you want to take time to do that, we're open to stick around for a little bit if you have time.
No,
No?
James,
James, do you use social media?
Yeah.
you want to share something?
Well, there's a lot you could do. Of course, there's a lot of negativity online. There's a lot of bad things going on, but what you really just got to do is be kind, someone might say something and, they might get told that it's not cool. You really just got to step in and tell them it's cool, tell them they did good, tell them that, that you believe in them, because there's a lot of hate, and this person was brave enough to say something or put something online, and they should not be given the treatment of like, they shouldn't be treated harsh. They should be, rewarded.
Aiden, do you have anything you want to share?
No,
You don't do social media?
I do.
Well, we just want to say thank you very much. Thank you for that. Yes, always be kind, right? Always, always. And just don't forget the importance of that human connection in a world that is so driven by followers and likes, right? We got to be driven by that person to person connection. The way that the three of you show up every day. You've shared it with us today. Thank you. We will see you in a couple of weeks.